I've been using the new iPhone X. This is the 10th anniversary edition of the iPhone, and it's a radical departure from what we've seen in years past. The first thing you'll notice is the home button is gone. Instead, the screen stretches across most of the front of the phone. Now, there are some problems. Because of this new screen dimension, some third-party developers haven't had a chance to really make their apps look good on the full screen. So for example, if I open Slack now, there are these big chunky black bars at the top. While most of Apple's apps will look great and some third-party apps will look great, it's going to be a few months before all apps really fit the screen well. The screen is a really big part of this phone too. For the first time, Apple is using what's called an OLED display, which has a better picture quality and better color representation than the old LCD displays they've been using since the very first iPhone. And for years, this is why Samsung phone screens have just looked a lot better. One other benefit of an OLED screen is that it's always kind of thinking and on. So if you just tap the screen now, it'll activate, whereas before you either had to turn on the power button or do raise to wake. The other big feature here is the new True Depth camera on the front of the phone. This is used for Face ID to unlock the phone without using a passcode or the fingerprint sensor. And it's also used for augmented reality apps and other cool features like Apple's Animoji. So let's take a look at the Animoji. This is really fun. So I'm going to record an Animoji. You got a lot of cool different options here. Hello! So as you can see, it uses the True Depth camera to track my facial gestures and movements. I can do my eyebrows. The mouth moves in time with me. I can squint and wink. And it sends as a normal movie file, so even if the person you're sending it to doesn't have iMessage or an iPhone, it'll work on Android phones or anything like that. The next thing is Face ID. This is the biggest new change to the iPhone next to the screen. Since they got rid of the home button, that means no more fingerprint sensor, and instead the True Depth camera can analyze your face and store the data as a mathematical representation of what you look like. But the problem is, of course, things like front-facing cameras still need to be on the front, so they have this new notch. You can see here that the screen curves around the new True Depth camera and all those sensors in there. You know, when you watch video, it doesn't bleed into the notch unless you want it to, same with photos. And because of all that screen, that means there's no home button. So instead of using a button to get back to the home screen, you just swipe up from the bottom. If you want to multitask, you swipe up from the bottom and then hold for a second and you get your whole list of apps that you can cycle through. The control center is now when you swipe down from the top right of the notch. And then the notification center is when you swipe down from the left side. To activate Siri now, you just do a long press on the power button on the side. What's the weather today?
It should be nice today, up to 57 degrees.
Screenshots are different too. Again, home button is gone, so how do you screenshot? You press the power button and the volume up button at the same time.